I have two documents here on my screen to share with you regarding Hmong tones. There are 8 Hmong language tones, as you can see here on the right-hand side. Before I get to the document on the left-hand side, I want to talk a little bit about this document that's on the right-hand side here. The 8 tones are also known as, in Hmong, and they're known as ji, okay, or ji, which means tones. There are 8 tones. Some people will say there are 9, but for the most part, these are the 8 that are most widely used in the Hmong language. I'm going to teach you how I learned how to write Hmong, and then and it was using this method here that I'm going to share with you, and then I'll move to, like I said, to the left-hand side here. This starting over here, as you can see, the 8 tones are these 8 letters here, or 8 symbols here, that you'll usually find at the end of each word. The first one here is an English letter M, second tone S, J, V, then there's nothing. You see this here, this indicates there's no consonant letter at the end of the word. So in other words, the word will just end with a vowel. But even though that would be the case, even when that is the case, that indicates that in itself is a tone. D, G, and B. Now, these tones at the end of each word are simply to indicate the tone. They're not intended to be pronounced. Okay, so I think that tends to be something that is new to non-Hmong speakers. These letters at the end of the word are simply meant to be tones and not intended to be pronounced. Okay, so starting with the letter M here. It's also known as gi, nia, gi, which is the tone, also known as the tone nia, nia. These are actual words here in parentheses by each tone here. Gi, nia. Nia actually means mom. You might remember this from the prior activity, nia. So this is a reminder to us whenever we can. It's kind of a reference point. We refer to word nia to remind us how the tone M sounds like. Ji, nia. Okay. It has that tone. It's really low. The S, also known as ji, mu, mu. Remember the tone up here? Nia. Listen to how it's different from this one. Mu. This here with a closed mouth. Mm. Mm. This here. Mm. Mm. I like to do it with just the sound and without the words sometimes, because then you can really hear the tones without the distraction of pronouncing and enunciating. This here, J, also known as ji, du, 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 actually means the sky, or du, yeah, means the sky. Mu, I forgot to mention, means to go. Mu, du, du. V, also known as gi, gu, gu means me. Gu means me, or I. Gu. Here, with no consonant at the end, known as ji, or, as you can see here, or means to do. Or means to do. And there is no consonant letter at the end here. Ji, or, Remember I said earlier, even when this indicates there's no consonant letter at the end, but it's still a tone in it by itself. Or D, also known as ji da. This one sounds very similar to the ji gu, but gu is much shorter. Da is much longer. Ji, also known as ji nang. 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 It's that air at the end that needs to come out. That's what makes it a ji nang. It's a sound at the end. B, also known as ji xie. Ji xie. It's the highest tone. Xie. So let me read all the tones to you again. Ji nia. That's this one. Ji nia. Ji mu. Ji du. Gu. Or. Da. Name. Xie. Now I'm going to go through these tones again with just making sure that there's a sound that comes out of my mouth. But I'm not going to pronounce the words or enunciate the words by any means. I'm just going to make the tone so you can hear the differences between the tones without the distraction of pronunciation. Mm. 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 Now I'm going to move over to the document on this left-hand side here. Apply what we just learned to what you see here. Let me explain how to read this this document. All of the tones on this left-hand side, far left-hand side, are what we call here level tones. Okay? So in other words, they don't fall, they don't rise, such as what you'll find in these other two columns. The middle column here, which is the J and the G here, these are what we call falling tones. So when you say the tones, they will tend to fall at the end or at least slightly. Rising tones, just as it sounds, the tones V and D, they kind of rise at the end of the tone. So, and then something else I want to share with you is that all of these in this box here are high tones, considered higher tones. The ones in the middle here, mid-tones. The lowest of the tones is the M, as I'd mentioned before, and that's the lowest tone. So starting at the top again, G, xie. You can refer to the list on the the right-hand side to help you out. Here, Ji xie, Ji xie. It's pretty leveled. Xie. And this B here is the highest tone, which we found over here on the right-hand side. Ji xie, Ji da. Oh, sorry. Ji du. Ji du. Ji du. Ji gu. Ji o. Ji mu. Ji mu. Ji nang. Ji nang. Ji da. Ji da. And ji nia. Ji nia. The lowest tone.